Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Women's World Cup. This one, New Zealand taking on Spain now. The Kiwis are considered as one of the near favourites for this competition, but to be able to do that, they would have to, of course, beat the team that they faced in the final for the last World Cup, and that would be England. But, of course, another massive few sides in this competition as well. France have looked strong from the get-go. Australia got themselves a big win over the Samoans. Canada are in the running too, and a big win for South Africa just recently as well. But looking through at the starting lineups for these two sides, for New Zealand, they have got a strong-looking team. Now, this is a side that did win the Pacific Nations Cup just recently up against the likes of Canada, USA, and Australia. But Bremner in that locking duo. Make sure to keep an eye out for both sisters in this case, Alana as well as Chelsea, and then off the back of the scrum, Makali too, Georgia Miller in that number 7 jersey, another one keep an eye on as well. But for the Spanish, this is a massive opportunity for this side. They aren't expected to win, but they will certainly come out here and give it a decent crack. Fernandez de Corres as the number 9, alongside Argudo as the 10. Now, I will mention my Spanish pronunciations may not be perfect, but hopefully they're close enough for this matchup. But overall, this is a Spanish side that, for one, we have never covered on the channel before. We've covered the sevens for the Spanish, but not really for the women too much. We've seen a massive increase in terms of the popularity of that men's side as of late. But a big opportunity here for this side to show what they can do in this Rugby World Cup competition. We have got there Spain wins this. I'm donating £50. See, it's Big Rig there. And also we have got there Hamish literally missed his national anthem. What a patriot. I did have the coverage open. I've had it open for the past about 30 minutes before all the match build-up. We have got there Hamish will be here soon, says Ruth, and I certainly am. And we have got Vamos New Zealand, says Blues Nate. And hi everyone, says Ruth there as well. But do let me know your score predictions for this game, ladies and gentlemen. The current biggest score margin that we have seen in this Women's World Cup was Australia up against the Samoans, and they were able to get themselves the 73-0 victory. 9% of people are on something, says Godson. I assume that is the poll in terms of who's going to win. I was tempted to put in a 50+ for New Zealand, but I thought that might be a little bit harsh on the Spanish, seeing as at the end of the day, they are a little bit unknown in terms of where they will shape up with the Kiwis. 65 points to 6 in favour of New Zealand, says Big Rig for the prediction. Hi everyone, says Lilia B. Welcome in. If you are doing extremely well, I hope you're excited for this contest. New Zealand do look fired up before the match gets underway. People are picking a Georgia Miller big game here. Also alongside that, you've got someone in the back line such as a Teresa Stefano. We've seen her from the 7 side of things. Renee Holmes as the number 15. Brazier at 10. And greetings, Hamish from South Africa. Are you up late or early, mate? I guess both, in a way. I did end up sleeping throughout the day after the Rugby Championship games from about 4 p.m. to maybe about 10. Or actually, it was probably a little bit later, probably like maybe 5 to 12 if I was lucky, somewhere around there. But, yeah, in this scenario, we will be sleeping after this match as well. But the ball has been delivered onto the field. We are now ready to go for this matchup, and we get ads in New Zealand anytime we have after the national anthems. New Zealand versus Spain, it will be 30-14. It's a prediction there from Katzenel. And I will mention, Spain have actually played some recent games, so we can slightly look at what they've done in recent times as a slight indicator, but of course this is not going to be a perfect way of knowing how strong the Spanish are going to be, but these are their recent matches. So up against the English, only 22 days ago, they were beaten 97-7. So that doesn't help. Up against Japan, they were kind of close. Up against the their second Japanese match, close again. Always getting around that 19 in that series. And then up against South Africa, who just got themselves a 60 or so point win over the Brazilians. South Africa won that game 48 points to 26, even though it was at home for Spain. So in terms of the betting odds of this game, I would say that the money line, as they call it, is probably around 80, 85 for New Zealand here, but it would not be ideal for the Spanish. In that case, Vamos España, says Lilia B. And also we have got there, hey everyone, says Robert V. Welcome in, hope you're doing extremely well. New Zealand will win 75 points to 6, says Margie there. But yeah, we've seen some pretty one-sided affairs already throughout this first round of the Women's Rugby World Cup. I do think that round 3 is the one where we're going to see the most competitive matches and the ones that could determine who finishes that little bit higher. How am I kidding? I predict a triple-digit loss. Says Katzenell, I'll give you whatever's left on my stash if we lose. Says Godzone there. We've still got ads here in New Zealand. I think that they leave the ads a little bit too close to the kickoff, if I'm being honest. Normally people quite enjoy the build-up in terms of seeing the referees, seeing the sides be ready to go. But instead we get ads for the Bunnings NPC and Dilmar T here in New Zealand. Surely you can do that before the national anthems and whatnot takes place, right? Just trying to sneak in a couple extra dollars for themselves. But now we are almost ready for this kickoff. Ella Goldsmith, the Australian referee, will be in charge. Quinton Immelman will be the TMO. They know people are viewing, says Big Rig. Well, rugby is a disgrace. Where's all the money? Women's World Cup at this club's stadium hosted by Northampton. Says Blues Nate, but it is kicked off now by the Black Ferns, who are wearing the white for this matchup. Charged down already off the Spain kick. Georgia Miller picks it up. Offload there and a knock on coming from Alana Bremner. But New Zealand all but getting right on the verge of scoring within a few seconds. They've got themselves a scrum 10 metres out from the Spanish line. Oh, yeah, good there. Look at that. España are already in trouble. That was a very good charge down from New Zealand, to be fair to them. They really gave no space. And a lot of people wandering off during the anthem. All eyes are on the kickoff, says Big Rig. And I'm making stuffed peppers and cabbage. I'm good. How are you, Ruth? Says Blues Nate. A German woman in this contest, says Gert. Not that I know of. I don't think they're one of the 16 teams that did qualify for this competition, unfortunately. I think this is a Black Ferns B-side. Says Godzone. And I do think that New Zealand will be preparing themselves for the game up against the Irish. That is their big pool stage match. They have to make sure that they get right. But the scrum going in now for New Zealand, fed in by Hohaya. Now, Makali Tu'u breaking off the back. Right-hand side movement, Brazier. A big shot coming in on Amy Duplessis. It's weird not seeing Michaela break in this women's side, which of course we should bring the congratulations to her. The announcement of her pregnancy recently. Going off to the right-hand side. Spain having to make a couple crucial tackles here. Duche, the number 15 jersey. Now Amy Rule. Sitting about 10 metres out, New Zealand. Brazier once again going quick hands. Duplessis just throws it away. In fact, that time it was Sitafano now out to Georgia Miller. Offloads. Still Spain not doing too badly defensively. Now that last game that we saw where they were 97-7 up against the English would make you think that they can't defend. But I don't feel like that's the case. And man, 100 plus seems modest at this point. And Lovers in the air, says Big Rig. And also get, oh, that's very close. Going to be held up by Spain, though. Very well defended. And just not quite able to go over the line there for Layla Say. I got Georgia Miller, Braxton, Sorensen, McGee, and Brazier, all in my World Cup fantasy team. And also we have got there, did you enjoy your coffee and chocolate, to Ruth from Lilia. And also I did very much thanks with the heart, and Big Rigger said Lovers in the air. And 2 of the US players are engaged to each other, which is cute, says Big Rig. And New Zealand women will be too strong for the Spain women, says Mornay. Yeah, they came in as huge favourites in this contest. Big contact on Brazier. Now off to the right. New Zealand, oh, little bit of a stutter there, but now the backline moving nicely. It goes into touch. Means that Spain will now have themselves the line out. Herrera, the lady who will be throwing this ball in. And what that English guy's name, Beaumont, spend all the, like the French guy, spend it on the top 14. Please, Europe boys, eh? Says Blues Nate. Yeah, they've had a decent amount of crowd at all of these games that we've seen so far. This one at York. Last match was Northampton's home game, or home ground, I believe. And then the final at Twickenham already sold out at this point in time. Now Spain popping it up, first touch of the ball for the Spanish on attack outside of their 22. Capel, back into the pocket. And gets the kick downfield. It's a decent strike at the ball. New Zealand have 3 back though, ready for it. Renee Holmes. Going to go off to the left, and it's a drop ball. A little bit too far out in front of Latainga. And it will now be the scrum for the Spanish. And yeah, it's normally a soccer pitch. There's all in the game. I would say there's a few ladies in women's rugby, especially in the forwards, says Godzone. And it would be hilarious if the final ends up being Spain versus Brazil. I think Brazil will struggle now after their loss to South Africa. They would have to do everything right from here on out, including beating France and also Italy. And also that would have to be by large margins. Now this ball's going to be thrown in, nicely taken by the Spanish. Oh, almost a fumble of the ball, but well recovered from Agudo. Now counter ruck from New Zealand in the breakdown, managing to take that ball straight back, and now 45 metres out from the line. Brazier will go away to the right, skip pass again. It's something New Zealand have tried multiple times throughout the first 5 minutes of this contest, close to the sideline for Sorensen McGee. Off to the left. Lalasai. Oh, drop ball, and it's counted as the knock-on. Another mistake from New Zealand. First 5 minutes, they have not looked their normal clinical selves. Are you Māori? CAS Cats. Now, is that to me or to someone in the chat? I assume that is to me. I am not, no. Not that I know of, anyway. I don't know whether or not I've got any sort of, percentage at all. And Spain are playing well, says all in the game. I do know, 2 sentences of Māori, though, because we did learn it at school. We have got there. I've seen you only show the first half of today's Curry Cup. I did. I ended up getting tempted to do the women's game for South Africa versus Brazil. So then during that first half, we actually ended up making a thumbnail, getting it all set up, and then popped over at halftime. And I'm kind of glad I did, because that game turned out to be the Curry Cup one anyway. It turned out to just be a bit of a one-sided affair. Yes, the South Africa versus Brazil game was one-sided, but there were some very entertaining tries thrown in there as well. Can any Kiwi do a haka, or is it a Māori thing? It's normally more so Māori, but there are guys in the All Blacks who aren't Māori, and they will do the haka as well. So it's more so, it depends on the circumstance, I would say. And now kick downfield from Spain, back towards the halfway line. Will New Zealand get this counter-attack right this time? Looks like they're going to go for the kick in behind from Sorensen McGee, taken inside of the 22 by Spain. Kicking it back downfield. That is a lovely strike of the ball. Fantastic kick. New Zealand decide to use it quickly. Now going back across. Long way off the wing here for Letienga. Nick Braxton to score first try, and Black Ferns to win by 51-60. Oh, okay, so going very specific. Wait, Braxton or Brazier? Oh, little pop pass, and it's another drop ball. And it's going to be a penalty advantage, a knock-on advantage in favour of the Spanish. And do you know any Welsh? And the laws in Wales, that any sign in English must have the Welsh translation. They'll not let the language die, says Big Rig. Oh, that's going to be lost there by Spain on the ground. Little knock-on. No, Mum clearly has a bet on. Says all in the game. And it would be quite strange Black Caps doing the haka, says Godzone. Although we do see the Tall Blacks, they do the haka before their games, the basketball team. I think that it depends on the sport a little bit too. Contact sport, you do normally see it a bit more, although you don't see it from the footballers. But I think the hockey guys do it. We don't see it in the... anything with one person, the golf, you don't see Ryan Fox whipping out the haka just before he's heading on the PGA Tour. But, it's circumstantial a little bit. All Spain have to do is avoid a yellow card. If not, they will be steamrolled, and Spain nearly away there. Yeah, they've had some decent touches of the ball already throughout the early stages of this match. Maybe more possession than some were expecting for the Spanish team. Ball is fed in by Hohaya. Now Kelly Brazier, skip pass again from New Zealand, missed tackle coming from Masoko. And after today's roll, it looks like the Bulls won't make the semi-finals of the Curry Cup. They're going to have to do some pretty big work throughout their last 2 weeks, but yeah, I think they'll struggle to make their way forward. Now again, back across to the right-hand side. Now, short side, going to Georgia Miller down the wing. She'll try the little chip in behind. She's fallen down. And now an awkward bounce, nice tackle from Hohaya. Still there for Spain, 22 metres out from their line. And a lot of pressure coming in the breakdowns. Hohaya, first woman in there. But again, can't get the steal. We have got the football is hyper literally a contact sport, but it's pretty soft. Rugby, hockey, MMA can be flat out brutal. Although to be fair, like some of those football challenges, when teams get fired up, like back before there were 50 cameras as well on the field, like there used to be some brutal shots, cross kick there from Brazier, awkward bouncing ball, it will go just behind Sorensen McGee, and it's called as in touch. So Spain will have themselves another line out. I don't think anyone would have predicted New Zealand not to have a point on the board after 10 minutes in this matchup. They probably would have expected at least 10 points in total for the Kiwis by now, but a slow burner for the Black Ferns. Spain are not going down without a bit of a scuffle. And a lovely warm grey jersey or hoodie, Hamish. So there's Roof there. It's certainly warmer than the shirt and tie from yesterday. We are currently sitting 1 degree Celsius here in New Zealand. Ball thrown in over the top from Spain. So New Zealand can claim it, although that was dropped sideways this time from Green. Higher, back to Brazier. On the back line. Oh, slipped through the fingers of Renee Holmes. Kick downfield from the Spanish. Here comes Masoko. Oh, they're going to go back for something. If not, Masoko might have been gone there. All of us still up at 4:41 a.m. Says Godzone, some mad bounces of the ball today. Oh, both sides still playing. They haven't realised that the players actually stopped as of yet. Bremner's going to go for the counter-ruck or counter-attack from U22. And poor old players used to get brain damage and skull injuries from headers. Says Big Rig. And Awahini working overtime on TikToks. Says Blues Nation, Spain is ranked 13th. Says Casper, they certainly are. New Zealand sitting third in the overall standings, or are they second? No, I think Canada might just be ahead of them at the moment in the overall standings. I restrict the mistake girls, the same as the ABs versus Argentina. Says John, as long as they don't get 3 yellow cards, they should hopefully be all right. And there's $130. Says Nov Mum. So you still need Brazier, you need Braxton, Sorensen, McGee to score first, don't you? Sorry, my apologies, got that round the wrong way. And Canada is second, says Lie there. And also we have got there, let's go the Black Ferns from Helen. And old school football could be brutal when they were made of leather and heavy. Currently possession, 75% for New Zealand, 79% territory. But at this point in time, Spain have not budged. I heard the Bulls made 12 changes in today's Currie Cup clash. It's very much, looks like a second string Bull side, but it was clarified to me on, I think it was Saturday morning, that no matter how badly the Bulls go in the Carling Currie Cup, they're still there next year because they're one of the URC teams. So I think we're seeing the same thing with the Western Province and the Sharks. All that having it so that they automatically qualify does is restrict the amount of good rugby that will be played from those teams in the competition, because they go, oh, well, we'll just test our depth. We don't need to chuck out a good side because we have nothing to lose. But unfortunately, in the process, they're losing quite a few of their fan base by throwing out these B-string teams that are getting defeated each and every week. But now, it's going to be Bremner. Number 4 jersey for today, Brazier, quick hands. That's nicely done from the Kiwis. Now move up to 22 metres out with Duplessis. Now, quick hands, Renee Holmes goes to Georgia Miller, sells the dummy. She will be through, she does. Score the try, and New Zealand get themselves the first. And the floodgates have opened, says Katzenau, and Spain are up with a challenge. Watching from Cape Town, says Denzel. And heck, if they get 3 yellow cards, I'll send you $130. The next Black Fern game, says Dallin. And what a try, says Jimbo. So Georgia Miller just sells the dummy, goes through, and just avoids absolutely everyone. And Miller time, says Dallin there. And oh well, there goes my $5. Says Nov Mum. I'm surprised you didn't back Georgia Miller, to be fair. You're a bit of a follower of the Sevens, Nov Mum. I thought you might have considered her, or maybe Teresa Stefano as the possibility. And so the game has started. I was doing stuff. Hi everybody, says Bruce. Welcome in. Yeah, currently it is sitting 7-0 after that kick goes over after 13 and a half minutes. But once again, that is a lot later than a lot of people would have expected. Hopefully the Stormers will do much better in this upcoming URC. They should, because they'll have all their strong players back, unlike the Western Province at the moment. We have there, George has got great feet like Christian Cullen. Says all in the game. I have there my prediction. It's 40-0 in favour of New Zealand, says Gaspar, and time to cut loose. It's time to cut loose, girls. Restrict the mistakes, says John. Yeah, if they can hang on to this ball quite a bit, They will go definitely a step in the right direction. At the end of the day, this game is just about getting a bonus point and increasing that points differential. But that big game will be the one up against the Irish. That is a huge kickoff there from the Spanish. That has gone all the way to the halfway line. Or from the halfway line to the dead ball line, sorry. So now scrum feed. So it does go right back. Georgia would have been paying short odds of 50 cents. I think she would have been probably in this game to score first, because they don't normally, like, to score a try in general, she was probably like $1.30. But I would say to score first, she was probably paying like $6, somewhere around there, based off the odds that we normally see for the All Blacks as well as the Black Ferns. I'm not too sure whether or not they closed betting on this game or not, though, because you'd assume that there'd be a fair amount of tries coming in this contest. And Georgia runs like Stephen the Ghost Larkham. One moment, we'll go Rugby Union. View markets. They do have... Okay, they just have the winning margin. They don't actually have the first try scorer at the moment. But the winning margin at this stage, New Zealand are expected to win by around 65 points. And hi, Bruce, says Lilia. And also, I love Miller. She's on another level, says Denzel. Now they will go off to the right-hand side. Brazier passes on the outside. Duplessis going to Sorensen McGee. Gets back up. Has another crack. Making it to the 22-metre line, but still about 30 out. Bremner. Getting it off to Amy Rule. And against who is the Springbok women going to play next? They will be playing up against the Italians next Monday for us here in New Zealand, but next Sunday afternoon for you guys in South Africa. We are hoping to cover that game on the channel. That's a brutal hit there. Now Brazier. Back across to Teresa Stefano. Sits down Pena. Back off to the right. Good go forward here for the Black Ferns. Up to the 22-metre line. Pick and go from Makaele Tu'u. Now Hohaya goes across. Little pop pass in behind. And again, that lofty skip pass out wider. Sorensen McGee gives it to Georgia Miller. She'll get her second. Now I'm trying to remember if I said Miller could get a hat-trick on this stream or the last one. I think it was the last one, so then it kind of discredits it a little bit. But Georgia Miller's on 2 already at the start of this game. The scoreboard doesn't want to give the Black Ferns any tries, but they are certainly giving themselves plenty throughout this contest. Hopefully that does update in the near future. I didn't realise it had it. Oh, there we go. It's got one. I get the ball to Amy Duplessis. Sierra's Blues Nate. And also, I wonder if Amy Duplessis is the sister of Drakis Duplessis. I don't think so. Long lost relation, maybe way down the line, but there are a lot of Duplessis around. Just mentioned about Georgia Miller being from Timaru. 17 minutes in. And got Georgia as my triple captain in my fantasy team. You're going to be very high up in the rankings, I would think. Then I don't really know how the fantasy side of things works, but that is a kick and a half going over from Renee Holmes. And now New Zealand lead after 17 minutes, 14-0. So it did take them 13 minutes to score their first try, but after that it took only about 3 minutes before they got their next. Our Springbok women play Italy next and then France. And having a breather out on the wing. Upper ball finds her anyway, says Jimbo. And the scoreboard distracted, says Blues Nate. It seems like it has now caught up with what is happening live. Now Spain kicking this one off. New Zealand sending up a jumper, but it went about 5 metres over her head. Here comes Georgia Miller again. Someone has to tackle her because she has broken the line once more. Oh, this is not good. This is not good. Oh, the drop ball as well, but that was poor Spanish defence. They forgot how to tackle her. She's not that scary, is she? But going out wide, Spain now going to boot that ball out on the full. I think they're going to go back for the initial scrum feed anyway. But I think Miller, had she not tried to pass, that may have gone the whole way herself. But just Spain, I don't know what is going on with the tackles around the legs. But it seems like it's just playing a game of slap Georgia Miller's leg and then let her go. She should have held the ball, says Jimbo there. And we have got their box versus France will be fun. So all Australia versus England. Didn't know Holmes would be a goal kicker ahead of Brazier though. Sierra's all in the game. And yeah, not doing too badly at the moment. I was hanging outside now, seriously hanging over from overhead bars to stretch. I suppose, supposedly good for you. See, here's Bruce. Well, there you go. Duplessis seems to be a very common name like Smith. And France are not going to be easy for the Springbok women. Yeah, that's going to be probably their hardest game. So far, we've seen New Zealand after 18 minutes have 304 metres carried. And we have got there, take it easy now, slow down now, Georgia, 60 minutes to go. Yeah, the last thing that New Zealand want is an injury for Georgia Miller here. And, you know, I think that she's just looking like she's going to get 3 tries at some point, isn't she? A hat-trick for Georgia today, says John. Yeah, I am slightly annoyed that I think I said on the last one that I thought she'd get a hat-trick and not this stream instead. Unless I squeezed it into the intro, I said to keep an eye out. No, I don't think I said about the 3 tries, though. In the intro. Right, I'm not too sure what happened there, but the ref said, oh, I need more. That's impressive for someone even just under the age of your favourite number. Says Lilia. And Georgia will likely play 50 minutes. Says all in the game. Yeah, I don't think anyone will play a huge amount of minutes here for New Zealand. Of course, there'll be a few who play the 80, but they'll be the more extended members of the squad. No, Hamish. We can't have that right now. And get Braxton on the ball more too. Says all in the game. You see, she's only really had it a couple times right next to the sideline. Whereas on her wing, Georgia Miller said, hey, this is how you do it. And Ireland will have more to come up with. Or we'll have to come up with a plan for Miller's legs. Says Jimbo. Now, I'm back into the pocket for Fernandez de Cortes. And it's a decent clearance, but was it out on the full? I think it was from the Spanish. So a good kick in terms of distance, but they'll go right back to where it was kicked from. In this case, she does apologise to her teammates as it puts them under that little bit more pressure now. But New Zealand have themselves the line out. 25 metres out from the line here for Vicky Rose Green to throw this ball in. Who's the one they normally have in the hooker department for New Zealand? Oh, Georgia Ponsonby. She'll be coming off the bench, won't she? In this game, never mind. I was trying to think of who it normally would be in that number 2 jersey rather than Green. But now, ball has gone backwards, so New Zealand retain this one. Ohio goes across. Little Sour, the dummy from Georgia. They've tackled her this time. I don't know. In fact, that was Bremner. So, seem to be able to handle her not too badly. Just imagining the rugby coaches in a dressing room with a whiteboard full of strategies for Miller's legs. Says Big Rig. But yeah, it seems to be that no one's tackling her above kind of thigh high. And every time they just get bumped away. Any suggestions, says Lilia B. Now going out. Little kick attempted in behind. And it's going to be taken by Spain. I think that was taken back, wasn't it? Yeah, it's going to be carried back. So it will be 5 metres out from the line. New Zealand now have got themselves a scrum. Spain don't seem too worried about it. In fact, they're probably quite happy that that is the call that it will be. She was under pressure. And yeah, just puts that ball down. Didn't want to risk anything there. Miller will be player of the tournament. Says Denzel, and Spain women are probably afraid of tackling the New Zealand women, says Mornay. I don't know about that. They've got some physical players out there on the field for Spain. I think it's just the unfortunate nature of the level of players. You know, for Spain, they aren't exactly known for their rugby union. They have lost their last 4 games. They lost 2 to Japan, 1 to South Africa, and 1 to England. 97-7 was actually their last result, and that was only 23 days ago, or 20 days ago, or somewhere around there. So, you know, for them to even be close in this game is a massive plus, but the scoreline should get worse, unfortunately. And also when they are this close to the try line, going down on the far side, a reset of that 5 metre scrum for New Zealand. A nice moisturiser. Says Jimbo and Vamos Spain. Says Ruth in there as well. Just a warning from the referee for both front rows to keep their feet up, not collapse under the pressure. Now, New Zealand, you would think, would have the advantage at scrum time here, but it's been a strange day, or strange weekend of rugby, so you just never quite know what will happen. However, Spain are ranked way higher than Brazil. Says God's own, true. And I think that shows, well, I mean, of course, we haven't seen Brazil play France yet. That will be a big tester to see how far behind they do fall in that game. But now back across to the left-hand side. But yeah, I guess that scoreline between Spain and South Africa, when you really think about it, like that's the way that it's at. That makes sense in a way. Brazil, oh, nice offload to Duplessis. Can't quite get the next one away to Bremner. And it's stolen in the breakdown by the Spanish, just 1 metre out from their try line. And this looks like an injury here for one of the New Zealand players. I believe it is Amy Duplessis who has stayed down. She is holding her shoulder and she looks in a bad way at the moment. She might be done for in this World Cup, but she is still trying to get up. She's making all sorts of faces. Spain kicked the ball into touch, but Amy Duplessis might be in some trouble. She's holding her shoulder, I want to say here, at the moment. But yeah, with the fact that we saw South Africa beat Brazil by around that 60 points, the fact that they beat Spain by around that kind of 22 points, I guess that does make a bit of sense. But then South Africa, I do think, played, in that game in particular, probably a lot better than some were expecting. And yeah, left shoulder is done. So yeah, it's all in the game. But yeah, she also got a knee to the side of the head, so that won't help. You're just lying on the ground going, ow, my shoulder, and then someone comes along and kicks you in the forehead. It's not going to make you feel too nice either. It's going to be a long day for the Spanish girls, says John, although to be fair to them, 23 minutes in, this is not as one-sided as people were expecting. Can we see the 100? I don't think so. I think New Zealand have started too slow to get to that 100 mark. In fact, hopefully, with a little bit of luck here, I'm going to look at what the score was after 23 minutes in the match between England and Spain, just for a bit of their comparative nature. So, England versus Spain. It only has the halftime and full-time score. So, halftime it was 43-0 for the English over Spain. I thought I was onto something there, but sadly I was not. Woodman or Demant, come on for her. Says all in the game. I actually missed the sub, but we'll see it soon here. Is she still on the field? Did she stay out there? Surely not, right? She stayed out there. That is brave. From Duplessis, just short of the try line again there for New Zealand. Ohio goes across. Yeah, Amy Duplessis still out there, and that is the try now for New Zealand. Makeli Tu'u goes over for her first try of the competition, and the first try that isn't scored by someone called Georgia Miller. And Spain girls to Mickey. And also, we have got there high again. All says, well, welcome in. We have got there about only the front row of mustaches. Says Jimbo, dislocated his shoulder, says Ruth. But yeah, she has stayed out there by the looks of it. And the same like the Springboks woman, says Mohadeen. And Bosch woman Whitcliffe is at 34 years old, the oldest of the New Zealand players. The youngest player is Braxton Sorensen McGee. She is 18 years old, and she looks like she's got a bright future as well, Sorensen McGee. From what we've seen recently, I thought the score would be more by now. Says Robert T, but that kick has gone over, making the score now 21 points to 0 in favour of New Zealand. But it did take New Zealand 13 minutes before they were able to get their first try in this match. I was in Cork today, but I decided not to go to watch the game because the score is obvious. Says Robert. And I was very good there. Are you intimidated that they can stretch better than you? Says Lilia. Now, what are your thoughts on Renee Holmes? She's been kicking very well throughout today, and one of the more experienced veterans of this New Zealand side, but someone who seems to be able to hold a backline together very well, definitely in pressure type of games. That's a knock on from New Zealand this time from Sahi, and it does mean now that Spain will have themselves the scrum from inside of New Zealand's 22. Brazier's 35, I think, says Gideon. Is it possible to score 100? I don't think so. I think New Zealand, somewhere around that 60 to 80 mark is probably about par for this one. Like I mentioned on the TAB, they had them as 65 as roughly, like they're expected to win by 67 now is the prediction from the TAB side of things. I'm impressed by Spain's spirit so far, says Denzel. And that's the thing. All you got to do is throw these lower-ranked sides in a World Cup, and you can see how much it means to them. They will go out there, they will put the bodies on the line, and every once in a while they'll have that big moment. But for now, this could be theirs right here. They're inside of the 22 Brazier, the experienced strategist. Says Dallin there, it's nearly 5 o'clock in the morning. Do you not go to work by 8 o'clock in the morning? Luckily, I'll be starting in the afternoon today. A little cross kick attempted there. And taken by Renee Holmes close to the sideline. Little bit isolated too. Spain trying to get in the breakdown, but they're still not quite there for Duce. Oh, big knock on from Bremner. Spain kicking it cross field. Now good attacking chance here for Argudo. And they'll go back for the scrum. Too many blowout games lately for this tournament. I don't think we've had a close game yet. The closest was 24-0. But I do think the last round of the group stage fixtures, that's when we're going to see it go a little bit more in those close game direction. Lots of passion for Spain. Says Lilia B. Yeah, they certainly bring the fieriness to the competition. We have good to see Georgia is not selfish with the try scoring, says John. And also España vamos. And if we are like 40 at halftime, 100 on, says Godzone. Yeah, like I said, Spain up against the English. They were 43-0 at halftime. Went on to lose 97-7. So plenty of ones. And there you get blowouts in all World Cups, says Godzone. Exactly right. Like, at the end of the day, there is a big difference between the top sides and the low sides. Like, no World Cup competition ever has had every single game be close. You know, no matter how much it is nice to think that everyone would be on the same level, there are differences. And some of the games are more so for the technicality, but it is also a great way to showcase these two sides. Now, going short side here for the Spanish. That was a tackle off the ball on the Spanish number 12, Agudo, and they have now got that advantage. Penalty goes the way of New Zealand. Goes the way of Spain. It's now 6 p.m. in South Africa. I believe it's 7 p.m., if I'm correct. And this line was 70 points to begin with. Same way out past results. I know New Zealand won by over 60 over the US, but Spain has done better, says Jonathan. Yeah, I think it was also based off Spain's last game, though, losing 97-7. Definitely wouldn't have helped their odds in this matchup, I would say. And Ireland have Spain next, says Jimbo. And also, hi, hit the likes button, please, says Roof. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. We have got plenty more rugby coming up next weekend. We're going to be doing the Pacific Nations Cup, some Curry Cup, the Bunnings NBC, some Women's World Cup. That's about it, I think, which is still quite a few. We'll probably end up doing about 8 live streams, even though it should be a quiet weekend because of not a lot of international rugby in terms of the Rugby Championship. You got for Samoa versus USA. That's a tricky one, but I'd probably go the US. Samoa will be physical up front, but I do think the US, even though they got beaten badly by England, would be the slightly stronger team out of those two, or maybe even quite the stronger team. We could see maybe 30 or so points in favour of the US. It's very hard to tell, but Samoa didn't show a lot in their first game up against Australia to say that they won't get beaten relatively badly. I can you with 100% certainty, Ireland is not afraid of Spain, says Big Rig. And at the time is 7:01. And Cape Town says Denzel and Samoa are terrible. USA will win. And now, moving forward, rolling maul chance here for the Spanish. Looks like maybe New Zealand have popped through the middle. Might be able to shut this one down. That ball is trapped. And now New Zealand get themselves the scrum. That is some great work from the Kiwis. But also, this is all great learning for heading throughout this competition. They want to be pushed by Spain here defensively and physically. It was great work from Makaeli too, though, getting in there and ripping that ball away. We have got, the US. And going to send Annie this link, and maybe she's able to tune in. See, there's a Bruce in there as well. I think I got all those messages out of the way, or did I miss one earlier on? No, I think we're all right. Well, Ruth said hot pants. I don't think I read that one out. Now, scrum feed, 5 metres out from the line. Spanish is good in football, says Margie. They certainly are. They're also good in the men's sevens. You know, they were a team that were beating all the top sides time and time again. They beat Fiji, they beat New Zealand, they beat South Africa, they beat France, they beat, pretty much all the sides that you would expect to do well in the sevens. Spain was able to beat a majority of them. Alt scrum, penalty, for New Zealand there, collapsing 5 metres out from their own line. But Spain were the reason for that collapse. Kelly Brazier starting to show her age. I don't know, because it's once again that whole thing of with age comes wisdom, and I think that Brazier, she is such a brilliant distributor of the ball. And yes, there are times that maybe she looks only, this is meant in the nicest way possible, sometimes just half a little step behind in terms of compared to some of those younger players pace-wise, but she can find those gaps for those young players to make them look better, if that makes sense. Are you going to sleep after the stream? I'll probably be up for another couple hours afterwards, just to try and get a few more things done. And then after that, I'll probably pop off to bed for a bit, and then I'll be getting back up. Got a bit of work to do, and then I've got a filming session with George at probably about 5:30 p.m, so in about 12 hours' time. And now Georgia Miller, I have tackled her this time. Higher. On in behind goes to Brazier with a nice exit down towards the halfway line. A full step behind. Says all in the game. But yeah, I think that she still does enough in that 10 jersey in terms of setting up tries that they might look at her in the important games, although there is a chance that they might reshuffle a bit. Oh, no advantage against New Zealand. And they'll go back now for the penalty island in Scotland, looking solid. 1 or 2 game ladies ready to go, says Blues Nate. Yeah, there are some real contenders at the moment in this Women's World Cup. Of course, England, New Zealand, they're the 2 main ones that have been talked about, followed by probably Canada and France. Don't underestimate Spain. Spain's Women's Sevens team is a respected force in the HSBC 7 Series with a strong 2024 season. 3rd place finish, says Gasper. Yeah, they've been doing pretty nicely on the 7 side of things as well for the men and the women. Wait, did the women finish 3rd in the overall standings, or was it the men who finished 3rd? We're going to have a quick look. Rugby Sevens. What do we got in terms of the overall standings? I didn't realise that Spain were that high in the women's. No, it went New Zealand, Australia, France, Canada, Japan, USA, Fiji, Great Britain, Brazil, China, Ireland. Spain finished 12th in the overall standings for the women's sevens. In the men's, though, they did finish 3rd on the 88 points. We have got there Canada versus England is going to be a watch. England versus New Zealand, or Australia versus New Zealand, imagine this semi-final. It would be a big one. Definitely after how Australia have started. Oh, big shot coming in. We have got there Currie Cup and Boland are on another level. Yeah, they've been doing extremely well, the Boland Cavaliers, for the season. Definitely because they weren't anticipated to be as high as they were. The World Series is just a slideshow. Where teams experiment for the real thing, the Olympics and the Rugby World Cup Sevens. The Brazil women managed to score a try, says Xander. They did not. Unfortunately, they got themselves 2 3-pointers, but they didn't do any more. Other than that, sadly, did Duplessis stay on? She actually did. They decided not to change. Good spell for Spaniard. It looks like Spain are calling for the kicking tee here. They managed to get themselves another penalty out in front of the post. This will be an easy 3 just to break the 0. So tell me, Amish, is George one of your good friends? He is. He has been on a few live streams, as you guys have seen. But he comes around once a week, roughly, to film. Sometimes a couple times. Damn it, errors and discipline, ladies. Don't. If you like the All Blacks, says Gideon, and well played Spain. And Brazil could only score 2 penalties. Says all in the game there as well. I'm getting ready to line this one up. Argudo. Can she do it? Yes, she can. Straight down the middle. Score now sits 21-3. And the thing is, you can see the excitement from the crowd. She has given a little bit of the thumbs up to the crowd as well. But there is a whole Spanish section who are all cheering like Spain just won this game because of the 3 points. And that just shows what it means to these lower ranked teams. The fact that, even getting a 3-pointer, it's the same with Brazil. Getting those 3 points in that game was absolutely massive for them. And then, of course, getting another one a bit later on in the contest. But some great support being shown for the underdogs here. 35 minutes into the contest. Oh, beautiful spiral kick down the middle of the field. Awkward bouncing one, but Kelly Brazier takes it. Passes across to the right-hand side. We in New Zealand with Renee Holmes will fire the kick back. Kick downfield from Agudo. Nicely taken by Brazier again. Fires it across into the middle of the field. Some quick stepping. Duplessis plays. Oh, she played hard, but she's now holding her arm like that. I think she might have actually hurt her arm passing that ball. I don't get the Spanish name pronunciation correctly. Is absolutely unacceptable jokes. Says Xander there. They're quite tricky off the Kiwi tongue. We've finally started to get the hang of the men's 7 side, but not so much the Spanish woman. Little kicker behind here. Ball bouncing, and Sorensen McGee. That was one of the ugliest bounces that she could have had. Just steeply going upwards. Now they will go back. And Duplessis should be replaced at halftime. She probably should have been replaced when she was injured too, to be fair. I know that they obviously decided she would be all right, but you don't want to risk that in this scenario. And come on, Spain, penalty, says Ruth. And at least Spain are on the board. 0 points are not good for anyone. And Spain will come back and win in the second half, says Bubba Smith. And bounce right over and out. And Irish is not doing too badly. Says Lilia, out of the names that I've said, are there any that you're like cringing at when I say them? Like, I do think, oh, that's a nice run from Makaeli Tu'u, popping the ball up to Sai. Now 20 metres out from the line for the New Zealand. I think the 15, is it Dusha? No, not Dusha. Duchia, isn't it? Or Duchia? Maybe? The young Ferns get valuable experience. Absolutely. A nice steal there for Spain, who will kick this ball back downfield. Georgia Miller chasing after him. What a kick from Spain just outside of the 22. Miller trying to bump off one. And that is a beautiful tackle made by Pena. Nice steal, says Blues Nate. But just that little bit of determination here from Spain. They got themselves the 3 points. Now they want to get themselves a try. Why the New Zealand W and Spain W? Are we getting they are women? One more question. What is a woman? Wait, why the New Zealand W and Spain W? We get they are women. That's just the scoreboard. That's an online one. Go ask Flash Score why they've got the W next to it. But now running this one forward. Because to be fair, they have got up the top, that side, because I've realised it's in reverse. It does say World Cup women in there as well. We have got there strong determination by Espana. And also, we have got there, do you really want me to hurt your feelings? Go for it. It's awful pronunciation, isn't it, for that fullback's name? I think that I'm probably, like, that's the thing. I listened to it once on Google and I was like, yeah, I got this one, but no, I don't got this one. Up to halfway, Spain again in position. They're doing very well throughout this first half. Pinning New Zealand back as a victory for Spain. Says Ruth. They say W because they are all winners. Says Big Rig. Now, backline, Pena going on. No, ball's dropped by Masoko. And a little Braxton has done very little lifting in the gym. Says all in the game. She's pretty quick though, so she's obviously been doing the work on the track. And to be fair, I remember one of those ones in the game between New Zealand and Australia. Two props or two big players tried to tackle her. She got up, both of them injured each other. So, you know, she may not be the biggest player out there, but she certainly packs a punch for the size of her. We have got there. My prediction for was 51-21 for New Zealand, but I still don't understand how Argentina won, says Xander. And also we've got there, reckon she would have gapped it and dropped the ball, says Blues Nate. And also we have got there, Spain have played well from all in the game. Yeah, like I think that Spain, like 86 tackles made, 23 missed. That's honestly not too bad. New Zealand have only had to make 17 tackles. Are New Zealand furious about the defeat yesterday? The yellow cards didn't help New Zealand, says Mornay. I think that some people are disappointed, but the thing is, I think the reality of it is people wanted to see a few changes. We didn't see the changes, and then New Zealand lost. So that's almost forced the changes now, but the wrong time. Because, you know, Springboks in 2 weeks, they will have to be on their A game, New Zealand. So do South Africa. They've had a bit of a rough start to their rugby championship too. But it's just meant that it's such a competitive rugby championship on the standings, which is fantastic, rather than a one-horse race. We have got their reckon she would have gapped it, and also we have got their 60-10 final score. Second half is going quickly. Yeah, I can't believe we're already 39 minutes through. W for women. Sierra's original there. Kelly Brazier ready to receive this pass off of the scrum. It's the 30 seconds remaining of the first half. And honestly, I think that Spain will be very happy with the way that this one sits. You heard the cheer when they got themselves a 3-point. If they can get themselves a try somehow, all big cross kick attempted here. Out to Letia English. We've hardly seen her with the ball, but now that she's got a bit of space, she almost managed to run her way through. Off to the right, penalty goes to Spain. It's for a neck roll in the breakdown. Do Spain just take a quick tap here in 5 seconds and kick the ball into touch? Or do they go for one last attack? There is time. So they've tapped it and they will kick it into touch. Spain are happy enough with a 21-3 halftime scoreline. And honestly, I can understand why. That is way more close than people were expecting. And don't get me wrong, Spain don't look like winning this game, right? They've had some good moments, but the fact that they can keep this game as close as this, I think will frustrate New Zealand just that little bit. I speak under correction. I think most that are tuned in now are here for comments rather than the rugby. Says Bruce, I wouldn't guarantee that. We've had quite a bit of chat coming in about this Women's World Cup. I have to say so far that the early response to this game has been a lot more positive than what we saw for that last match that we covered. Like, the amount of rough comments that were in there early on were pretty, not ideal. But it seems like now, we've had that first stream out of the way. People are accepting that there is a thing called a Women's World Cup and they thoroughly deserve one. And now it's more so getting into the rugby. I'm here for both, says Big Rig. And if you're good at rugby, but at every other sport, says Blues Nate. Rough in what way? It was pretty much, I don't know how, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much what you just said. We have got there, who is pregnant now? Where? I'm not. I know that. We have got there, it's their C side. They are resting their B side, apparently, says Xander. And Corneille Holmes played 10. I think she has in the past, hasn't she? For New Zealand. Has she slotted in as that 10? Who actually did they have for the last World Cup? We'll get the phone back out. We'll go like this. We go like this. We go like this. Women's World Cup in 2022. Who was New Zealand's 10? Actually, no. Thought I had it there on the tip of my tongue, but then I forgot it again. It was Demant. Who was the number 10 last time. I'm here for rugby and Hamish's pronunciation of Spanish names. So here's Lilia. Yeah. Well, we're at least the rugby is not going too bad so far. Name 5 sports. You're number 1. Mornay, maybe 3. So here's Blues Nate. And also Joaquin. Wah, says Ruth. And also the laughing face there from Bruce there as well. Women's NRL in Australia doesn't draw near the same crowds as men's. They have some very good clubs such as the Roosters, says Jonathan. The thing is, I actually think the slight problem sometimes is if people would actually give it a chance. It's like that last World Cup. There were a lot of people at the start that were like, nah, I don't watch women's rugby. And then by the end of it, they were watching every single game. And it's just one of those ones that I'm sure the women's NRL, I've hardly been watching the NRL in general, sadly, just because of the times that their games are on and whatnot. I just sadly don't get to watch them. But it's probably the same with the women's NRL, from what I've heard anyway, that the people who watch it actually thoroughly enjoy it. Same with the Farrell Palmer Cup here in New Zealand, rather than just the Bunnings NPC. Poor Brazil. They played a tough team, no embarrassment at all, says Ruth. And also Miller has been the difference, says Jimbo there. And Clowns always come at Hamish, says Blues Nate. I am used to it though. We've had to develop pretty thick skin. But the thing is, I prefer when people, this is going to sound like a weird statement, but I prefer when people diss me rather than dissing the game, if that makes sense. In some cases, it's a hard one to explain, but yeah, does that make sense? I'd prefer, in this case, for instance, from that last stream, I would have preferred that people were like, oh, you got a big gap in your teeth, or your hairline's going back or something, to me, rather than saying, oh, why have we got a World Cup for the women? We have it there. Then they finally bothered, and it's awesome. Says Big Rig, UFC had the same problem. They didn't have a women's division for decades. Says Big Rig. And yeah, look at some of the women's UFC fighters that have come out through the years. Even, you got to look back at someone like a Ronda Rousey, how she was one who kind of put that female MMA scene on the map back in the day with Chris Cyborg, Misha Tate, all those ones. Then Holly Holm, then Amanda Nunes more recently, Rose Namajunas, whose name I still slightly butcher for the last name. We have there, when will Argentina get a women's team together? Hopefully soon. Maybe. I know it makes sense. You're not being tackled by enormous Australians, says Big Rig. And we have got there Holly Holmes, says Casper in there. And WWE also has a women's division. They certainly do. And anyone who laces up the boots and goes out for rugby union deserves respect. I was just kidding. You're doing great, says Lilia. But what name's really not great, Lilia? I assume there's one somewhere in this lineup. I will definitely accept criticism. Don't forget Paige Van Zandt. Yeah, I feel like there's many others that I have left out of that list as well. It's very hard to just pick a few, isn't it? Because you look at someone like a Valentina Shevchenko as well, for how long that she was dominant in her division. I'm trying to think, who would be someone flyweight other than Paige Van Zandt, or someone, who's one in the smaller division? Even someone like Angela Hill. She was around for a long time. We have got there Amanda Nunes as a beast. Says Big Rig. And Hamish swats them off with his excellent humour. I think Hamish knows we're having a joke with him just. Says Bruce. And I watch more women's rugby than NRL these days. Says Shane. And rugby league and generally takes away so much possible depth and resources from union. Would be ideal if the game never split into the two. Says All In. Although it has, of course, generated a lot of money for the Australians throughout the years as well. We have got there, hi Hamish and chat, popped in to check the score. The ladies are doing well. See you, Chance, welcome in. You are doing extremely well. Yeah, currently 21 points to 3. I think that New Zealand probably feel they left 1 or 2 tries out there for the first half, but honestly, I think they haven't done too badly overall for the way that it does sit. Erin Blanchfield, that's true. She was in there quite some time, wasn't he? Who is the women's UFC champ now? Ronda is long retired by now, I think, says Andy. Yeah, Ronda's been out of the picture for a long time. She has since been in the WWE. But in terms of, where is it? I'll find the women's champs at the moment. Zhang Wei Li was a champ, wasn't she? But then is she champ now? I don't think she is. Where are we? Valentina Shevchenko is women's pound for pound number 1 and also the flyweight champion. Zhang Wei Li is the women's strawweight. And then Kayla Harrison is the women's bantamweight. At this point in time, I think there's just the 3 women's divisions, isn't there? And Kayla Harrison bantamweight, Zhang Wei Li strawweight, Valentina Shevchenko flyweight. And that's how scary Nunes is. Says a big rig, and Ronda's mentality retired seconds after Amanda Nunes punched her lights out. And we have got there flyweight, says Ruth. And apparently she's pissed off almost everyone in WWE. I don't think Ronda is the nicest person to get along with. Says Big Rig. I've heard the same thing. But then at the same time, if it wasn't for that slightly, out there, I'm going to beat everyone up kind of mentality, then I don't think the women's MMA would have been taken as serious back then as it was. But everyone was like, okay, Ronda's pretty badass, so we better not say too much. The box against Brazil was something 66-6. Yeah, big win for the South African side. I've got there Hamish Big Boy. He got this. Ruth Carter says Blues Nate. And no injuries, I meant, says Dowland there. When with or without injuries. But don't let Amy play in the second half. Yeah, I think that Amy Duplessis has to go off. I understand why they left her out there for a little bit longer, hoping that shoulder would come right. But she did a pass from halfback and then went, ow, and then held that arm down. So I just don't know if it's worth the risk at this stage of the match. Dan Seven always comes to mind, or comes across as chill and humble dude. Yeah, he's got a podcast, doesn't he, Dan Seven? And I think, is it him and Don Fry have the podcast, or is it him and someone else? I think it might be him and Don Fry have an old school, kind of MMA general life podcast. Yeah, Brock Lesnar never won a popularity contest either. Says Big Rig. But the thing is, that is also when those guys and gals do draw crowds, because people actually get to a point how they pay money to try and see you lose because they want to be there. Just like I'm up in Ken Shamrock, looking back on their matches, says Big Rig. And after this game, the 8 quarterfinalists will be decided already, says Jimbo. Yeah, there might be a couple interesting games next week, I think, that might determine second place in the group. I'm so excited I found this channel. I'm in America, sorry. I was so excited for this match to watch. I can't find it anywhere. Then I found this channel on YouTube. Thank you, says a friendly narcissist. And there, well, it is greatly appreciated you being here. I am hoping to do all of New Zealand's games, although there might be overlaps with other competitions, but we will hopefully be able to do as many as possible on Monday. Literally next week it overlaps with Italy versus South Africa. Or does it? Actually, daylight savings is happening soon for us here in New Zealand, isn't it? So that might not be an overlap. Hopefully. Is that an overlap? Do let me know, ladies and gents. Anyone on the New Zealand when is daylight... Oh, that's not how you spell daylight. Daylight savings. 28th of September. I was completely wrong. Got the wrong month. So, yeah, that overlaps. What do we do there? I don't know. Mostly tune in to Front Row Rugby, Kiwi Lads, and a few others. And Dakota Dikcheva is not in the UFC, but she's probably the number one woman fighter in the world currently, says Casper. Do you know why she hasn't gone to UFC? Is it just she is happy where she is? Or is it some sort of falling out? Cloud bidding up in the background. Last games for today, says Blues Nate. And was a tough dude. Don Fry, great mustache too, says Godzone. And 2027 World Cup is wide open, says Big Rick. South Africa is going to do the double in 2027 by winning Rugby and Cricket World Cup, which is going to be held in South Africa 2027. It's going to be a golden year for South Africa. So here's Mono Lagrange. Is Portia Woodman in the squad? She is, but she'll be making her way off the bench rather than starting. There's actually a chance that we see her make her way straight onto the field due to that injury of Duplessis, although more than likely I would say that Demant might go into that role. Brazier might push out, something along those lines. But yeah, some very talented players off the bench here for New Zealand. Georgia Ponsonby in that number 16 jersey. Risi Pori Lane, Demant, Woodman, Whitcliffe. For the Spanish, I will be honest, I am not familiar with quite a few of these players. But hopefully, they end up going very well in the second half and just compete again like they did in the first half. Because this was a very, I would say, a very impressive half for Spain. And I know that being 21-3 down doesn't sound impressive, but they were in that scenario of being 43-0 up against the English. I'm a newbie fan of rugby. I was getting flooded by Portia Woodman shorts of Facebook and fell in love with rugby. Amazing. Well, it is absolutely awesome. There you are tuning in. And if you have any questions for anyone in the chat or anything like that related to rugby, normally people are pretty friendly about it, so you be sure to fire them through. But New Zealand winning that last World Cup, they are, I believe, second favourites. England are the team to beat in this competition. We have their bloody Hurricanes arriving off the coast later. It's going to be a dump of the rain. I don't mean patronising, Avish, says Big Rick. I think that it's more than acceptable to say that Spain are a lot closer in this game than they should have been. You know? Like, they have been outstanding throughout that first 40 minutes based off where New Zealand are on the rankings and based off where Spain are. Normally, you'd expect about a 40-point margin by this point. We have good there. If it wasn't for Andre Pollard, Box might have bit it. They keep trying to replace him, but keep recalling him to save the day. Even did well too. The Box are eating big bites of humble pie, says Shantz. I predict 40 points to 3 as the end score, says Casper. And where's Vic and Vern? I don't think they're doing this game that I know of. I think they did a game earlier on, if I am correct. One moment. They did the Curry Cup game between the Bulls and the Griquas. And also 2 minutes ago, they just finished doing a Fulham versus Man United game. So I assume they were both on that stream. And then also a few days ago, they actually ended up doing the Women's World Cup as well between England and USA. Those spam bots always turn up when I'm not in the chat. Just weird, Ruth. Nate not here, Attack Hamish. Although I've become pretty quick at being able to see them and then just pretty much get rid of them off the get-go. We have there. Take her off with a shoulder shot, says Ruth. Yeah, I think it would be a smart move to not risk Duplessis. It looks like second half just about to get underway here. I'm just waiting to find out whether or not Man United won. Oh, they might have drawn. That'll be a frustrating one for Vic. I know that last match when they lost, he was pretty frustrated, so he will be a frustrated man at the moment too. After 2 games that possibly they should have won. Ever checked out Squidge Rugby? Welsh guys are doing rugby union analysis and breakdowns. You remind me of them. Says Big Rick. Yeah, Squidge was kind of like that first big rugby YouTuber. And then from there, I feel like he slightly paved the way for, you know, all of us newer fellas. Although, am I still a new fella if I've been doing it for 5 years? Probably. I still feel quite new to it. I still don't know how YouTube works. And Vamos España, says Jimbo. Anyway, then Muppets away and let Hamish do his wonderful works. I've all used to Kiwi Lads audience. Says Blues Nate. Now ball in the hands of Makaeli Tu'u. She is one of the 2 try scorers from that first half for New Zealand. Hi everyone, I am tuned in. Says Annie, welcome back. And also Pollard wins most of the games. And Pollard the midfield general. I sent a screenshot to my friend at Tech Support. Says Blues, Nate. And also, we have got there, take her off from the shoulder. Oh, we have a quick look round. Is that? No, that's Teresa Stefano. So we see Bremner's gone off. Georgia Miller has also gone off. So only giving her the 40 minutes in this game. New Zealand not taking too many risks with certain players. Demant is out there, so I assume that is for Duplessis. You're only a snapper, Hamish. Says Jimbo. Poultry Lane, she is on the field. That is for Hohaya. So yeah, New Zealand almost emptying their bench already at the 40-minute break. We did see South Africa make 8 changes at once. Risky offload there tried by New Zealand, given away. And Spain now back in possession. Is it still score? Yep, this is still the score. 21 points to 3. Kick downfield from the Spanish. Nicely taken by New Zealand. About 40 metres out from their line. Renee Holmes looking for the 50-22. But Spain back covering nicely. Now a bit of time to be able to run forward for Pena. Pollard will go to New Zealand, says Mohadin. And that is going to be a knock-on from Spain. And someone mentioned that they're going to announce their team tomorrow for the New Zealand League of the Rugby Championship South Africa. Hopefully that is the case, and hopefully it's at a decent hour for us here in New Zealand so that I don't stay up till about 5 a.m, although to be fair, it's literally 5:30 at the moment, so I still do. One moment, we'll go here, go there. Have they got any news about the timing? Okay, yeah, so they're still doing the whole Clubber Kanye drug test thing at the moment as the main headline, so I assume that will pass by. Are you going to sleep? Only in a few hours. We don't get to see the game, we just listen. Oh, yeah, sorry. I just realised because it was half-time, that meant that there was no coverage. Yeah, we are just, unfortunately, doing the commentary, but I will mention the All Blacks YouTube channel will have the highlights straight after the game, so be sure to check that out. But yeah, sadly, we don't have the licensing to be able to show it. Be sure to check out Rugby Pass TV, though, because they may have it available in the US, depending on who picked up those licenses. And we have got an injury niggles for New Zealand. No problem, says a friendly narcissist. And Vic and Vern still trucking good wishes, boys. Says Ruth, yeah, we will have to do something with them in the near future. I was hoping to do something midweek last week, but it ended up just getting too busy for myself. But yeah, we'll try and get something going in the near future. Yeah, I am live, says Annie. Now, going back to the right-hand side for New Zealand, currently sitting 40 metres out from the line. Brazier with a short pass, tack and run from Stefano. And Rassi said they were waiting for some player scans before announcing injuries. Might be some injuries. Yeah, there's a couple interesting ones for the box at the moment in terms of how long guys will be out for, because I guess it's a very long plane ride, isn't it? So you got to make sure the guys are 100% that you're about to bring over. Right, they're just showing that line-up. So at the moment, just one change. Etolenes is on for Delgado. And that's the only change for the Spanish. And I will do, thank you. And we have got there, Pollard doesn't play in New Zealand. Box will have a much less chance of winning. And if you have access to BBC iPlayer, it'll be on there too, says Big Rick. If anyone knows what's happened to Fuff, he played one game, then nothing. I think he's just on standby. Rassi decided he wanted to go with Grant Williams, and then also Kobus Reinach. We have got their Ferns get frustrated with themselves. Says Jimbo. We've got their rubbish from Dallin. Is that as in like something that we said, or from New Zealand making a mistake? And we have got there, do you have high hopes for the Quality Rugby 26 game? No, not really. I think that Big Ant, if they keep all the licenses and they don't try and fix Rugby 25, we're pretty not looking great for Rugby 26 or anything along those lines. Yeah, just so many errors coming from New Zealand in this match. At this point in time, it will be another feed for Fernandez de Corres. And hi, Annie. So here's Lilia in there as well. Ready to feed this ball in. And Wallaroos, Comey Namish, says Dallin. Oh, the Wallaroos would have mopped this Black Ferns side, says Robert T. Sorry, I did miss that one. Oh, that's the thing. The last time that they played, New Zealand did beat the Australians. Australia did very well up against Samoa, to their credit. But I also do think that New Zealand up against the Aussies seem to just step up a little bit more, don't they? And I hope those two sides not fight each other, but play each other at some point in this competition. Ref reminds me of my French teacher were you very good at French, Jimbo? Oui, monsieur. Bonjour. That's about all of my French that I know. Yeah, no, that's all I got. Oh, nice offload here for New Zealand. Attack and run forward for Say. It's in 5, in fact 10 metres out from the line now. Another pick and go from New Zealand. That's going to be an advantage for offside. Cross, Brazier, getting it moving now. Good hands from New Zealand, breaking through to Mark. Gives it off on the short side, and that will be the try now for Aisha Letiainga, scoring out there on the wing. We have got their Northern Hemisphere officials have changed the laws of the game to suit them. Says WH, I guess the women saw the New Zealand men making all those errors and went, we can do anything they can do. Says Big Rig, and 7th, says Alvin. And there as well. Great strength by Holmes. Yeah, just a good draw and pass out wide. Nice attack and run initially from Leila Sa'i. And then just bumping through that tackle attempt from Duchier. Does get her first World Cup try. Let's go. Says Blues, Nate. Yeah, first try of the second half for New Zealand. Now 47 minutes through. Renee Holmes, she's at an 100% off the kicking tee for today. She had another 2. She certainly can. Straight down the middle of the post. And 28 points to 3 now in favour of New Zealand. And those questions of whether New Zealand could get to 100, I think, have been firmly put to bed. Not enough time remaining, I don't believe. Yes, they could get to 50, though, if they do play well for the next 52 minutes. Or sorry, that would be too long. 32 minutes. Annie Bruce has been Googling again, says Lilia. Now, ready to drop kick this one off. Ponsonby is on the field. Same with Valiko. So the whole front row actually being replaced. Amy Rule taken from the field too. Now New Zealand, 25 metres out from the line. Resi Pori Lane goes to Brazier. Whether or not New Zealand can get themselves a couple more. Well, if I look hard enough, I can almost see the game in your sparkly eyes. I'm so sad. I've been trying all morning. I got to get a VPN to trick my device so I can watch rugby. So you haven't got a VPN, friendly narcissist? Because if you do have one, someone said BBC iPlayer is a great option to be able to watch it. Oh, big collision there for Sorensen McGee, but the ball is on the side of New Zealand again. Risi Pori Lane. He said 14 was too small. Says Robert T. Yeah, like I said, she always packs a punch. No matter who's in front of her, she will try and run over them and go All Blacks Ferns. No, says a friendly narcissist. That does make it tricky. So you're in the US, aren't you? Because they should have a, where to watch. There we go, where to watch section. Oh, nice attack and run for New Zealand down the wing. Sa'i gets that a little bit closer, 20 metres out, picks it up and goes again. Still trying. She thought about doing it for a third time. Now, big bump off there. Looking for the offload. New Zealand lose the ball again. Yes, I tried to download it. Not available in your region. Home of the free, says friendly narcissist. So for USA, it is on CBS and Paramount Plus. Do you have either of those two? The answer that I'm hoping for is yes. But I have a feeling it might be no. And excuse my rudeness, Annie. Hello and welcome in. Says Blues Nate. Go New Zealand, says Johan. That was some hit. Says Jimbo, yes, sitting down the opposition. The attack and run from Valiko. Shut up. Yes, thank you. Oh, which one was it? Was it Paramount Plus or CBS that you have? Because I really hope it's on both, or else then if you have one and they don't show it on there, I'm going to feel quite bad. We have there's this better than Springbok woman. I think that there's been a fair share of handling errors in both of those games. And it's also very hard to judge because different opposition. Spain have been more up for the challenge. You are my hero, says a friendly narcissist. To be fair, you don't know if it works yet. So make sure it works first and then we'll take some praise. But until you actually have it loaded, just make sure it works first. Paramount Plus has Dexter. Love that show. Says Big Rig. And Caramel Magnum says Xander there. I actually, believe it or not, I haven't had a Caramel Magnum in about 2 months. Or maybe a month. I might have extended it. Ponsonby off the back, though, rolling more for New Zealand. And that is another one. Crowd happy with that, but 33-3 seems to be the common kind of equation at the moment. The South African game was 66-6. New Zealand have a kick to come. Should be a nice, easy one for Renee Holmes, a true. And score one try, just one try. Spanier and Ferns coming alive here. They seem to have found their rhythm ever since we saw the bench come on. It seems to have made quite a bit of a difference to the way that New Zealand are playing and rolling mauls. It feels like the most popular tactic of the Women's World Cup, and it's very hard to defend. And I think we're seeing that time and time again here. Running right now, Sears all in the game. But Renee Holmes, she has been doing extremely well off the kicking tee. This one only 18 metres out, so should be one of the easier ones that she's had. And again, straight down the middle for the New Zealand 15. The try makes the score 35 points to 3. Having withdrawal symptoms yet? Honestly, no. But I think that's because I don't even think this is an exaggeration. I probably ate, over a 2-week period, about 20 caramel magnums, if not maybe more. And it got to a point where I was like, this is kind of sad. So since then, I kind of just haven't eaten any of them, which I feel bad for, because now if they go out of business, it's because I stopped getting the caramel magnums. The ABs really need a game breaker. I recommend Georgia Miller. They did have her in the first half. Unless you're talking about the men's side. Are you saying that she should play for the men? But yeah, she did score 2 tries in the start of this contest. Literally ate a magnum with almonds. Says Robert T. The more you eat them, the less special they will be. Yeah, see, it got to the point now it wasn't even a treat. It was just part of the schedule. And absolutely will be the cause. Says a friendly narcissist. And too much of a good thing? I think it was. So now I've distanced myself from said ice creams. And Lock Laura Bayfield has been an outstanding form in the World Cup lead-up. She must be considered a start, says Gideon there. And also, I'm going to grab another one from the fridge. Be careful, you'll eat 20 in a week. That's what I did. I've got that 65-6 was my pick. So we're halfway there, says Big Rig. Oh, yeah, no, we're getting towards it. And hot country veg soup with toast. And Porsche, our Lamborghini, says Blues Nate in there as well. And Wonder is on, says no, mum. Yes, she has a huge amount of tries. The Women's World Cup, 172 metres made by Spain, 1,029 made by New Zealand. 20 magnums in 14 days, not too bad. Yeah, it's not a record that I'm proud of, but I gave it a fair old crack. But now, Spain, the possession, they are about 35 metres out. I know that New Zealand will win this game, right? But wouldn't it be nice to see Spain score? Just because of the reaction that the crowd had when they got a 3-pointer. Imagine the scenes. Oh, that's a hard one. She slammed down on the ground and she is hurt here. One of the Spanish locks. New Zealand, though, inside of the 22. In fact, it was actually the Spanish number 6, Rosel Martinez. Bayfield was the least experienced off the bench. Says Dowland there and raking up the metres, ladies. Now, New Zealand 30 metres out from their line. They don't mind a line break when it's on the cards. I think Porsche will score a try around 55 minutes. Says Novmum. Right, I have starred that, Novmum. In fact, let's play a fun game, ladies and gents. What time on the clock is going to be the next try? New Zealand have an injury and back play here. That looks relatively serious. Now, I'm watching now, says a friendly narcissist, so I'm glad that we were able to find the option for you. And a penalty goes the way of Spain. I'm so happy. I love you all, says a friendly narcissist. And I think they'll have all of the games as well. So you haven't just got New Zealand's matches. Who's that? I can't tell. They're kind of sideways. I need to also turn sideways. Who is that? I don't recognize. They're upside down. I think it's maybe. Who is that? I think it's the number 20. Kaipo Olsen Baker. And who's the injury, says Adidas? We've worked it out. It's Olsen Baker who has ended up with this injury, and she's gone. Go Ferns go. In 56 minutes, New Zealand scores a try. What's the time now? Time at the moment is 53 minutes, 36 seconds. So that is the updated score. It's not actually 56. You've got a couple more minutes from there. She picked the Spanish lass up by the legs and used her as a hammer, says Jimbo. But yeah, she will be taken from the field, and this might be her World Cup over, unfortunately. That's the last thing that you want, is an injury in the very first match that you do play. And I think New Zealand may have already emptied their bench, so they might actually have to consider switching it out. 61 minutes, New Zealand scores. And our bad unlucky Baker. Looks like a couple changes are also being made. DeAndres making her way on for Rodriguez. And that sucks. He's a friendly narcissist. And Heck says Dallin. And there as well. And Olsen Baker's one of the best in the team, says Wafer. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a hit, because the thing is, I feel like they probably, this doesn't look good. They're doing the precaution of putting the leg in the little cage and then taping it up. But I think what's happened here is New Zealand probably tried to use her off the bench, similar to some of the other players, just to give them a few minutes at the end of this game. Can Georgia Miller come back on? I think she can. If it is injury-based, I think she can return. Do they have a bomb squad too? Says Bruce. Well, they've already used them. It was a 5-3 though. Looks like another change taking place for the Spanish as well. That is going to be Aresti. Or something similar. The World Cup is over. Yeah, as soon as a stretcher comes out, you know that they're probably not going to be back for quite a bit of time. And ouch, hope not too serious, says Blues Nate. Did the commentator just say that she could stretch it off? Surely that was something else. What does she do? Okay, so I think she initially injured one of the Spanish players and then went across the field and ended up injured herself. They are going to take her off the field. She is in tears as well. She is not handling it very well, as that leg, I think, got possibly snapped in two. And I heard that too, says a friendly narcissist. So I sure hope not. That would suck. And more points, New Zealand, says Fata there. No, that's really bad then. I'm a newbie. I only know Porsche and Alona Mara in the USA team. Well, this is awful to get injured in the World Cup. I know that much. And Olsen Baker walking off or carried off, stretch it off on one of those little buggies. The crowd giving her a big round of applause. She makes her way off. We have there. Are we playing a bit slow? Watch England wicked game. Good luck, ladies, says Graham. Okay, side entry going against New Zealand. That is against Makaeli Tu'u. Now Spain favouring the right-hand side of the field. Don't think I'd handle that very well either. Says Jimbo. Yeah, no, I can imagine it would be quite painful. She also didn't have a green whistle. I'm sure she's gutted. And also her leg looked like it was snapped in half. So that can't be nice either. But yeah, normally they give them the green whistle, and sometimes they kind of go off in a happy mood because they're high from the whistle. But I don't think they had one available for her. Or at least it wasn't. Maybe she didn't want it. The ref told her to stop milking the injury for a red card, and she can walk it off, says Xander. And so instead he wins the race, says Big Rig. And now Spain with a great attacking chance. They are 20 metres out from the line, and another advantage for the Spanish through the middle. New Zealand might be in a bit of trouble here. To be careful not giving away another penalty that gets them into yellow card contention. Another Spanish player is now down, unfortunately. That is now 2 injuries in about 2 minutes. 3 injuries in 3 minutes. We don't use the green whistle in the UK. We use Entonix gas. Says Robert T. And Vamos España. They aren't going nowhere, says a friendly. Yeah, time is off again because of another injury. That is now 3 in the last 2 minutes. Score says Mohamed score is still sitting 35 points to 3. And Psycho says ankle injury is one I can't see without cringing. Yeah, nah, his was... It's not nice, is it? Definitely the fact that it's just dangling there. Anyone who knows the injury will know what we're talking about, but no, it's not one that you want to watch on repeat. And rugby is a brutal game, says Big Rig. And red card time, says Jimbo. And did you see the near miss on the circuit where he nearly got connected in today's GP? I sent you, Annie. And they are talking are they taking the Spaniards out one by one? Go the Ferns. Says a friendly narcissist, and we need Baker against the big England pack. She's so aggressive and huge ball carrier. And yeah, I don't think they're going to have her, to be honest. Like, the fact that they put her leg in that, you know how they put it in like this kind of cage and then tape it up? Like, that normally means a relatively serious one. She could be out for 6 months, depending on what the injury is. So, you know, I think that it's probably going to result in possibly that change for New Zealand. This is why anyone who's willing to play it deserves respect, in my opinion. Sans Biggery, absolutely. Like, these two sides and the whole, like, anyone who's playing a game of rugby are putting their body on the line for the game that they love. That's a knock-on from Spain, and now New Zealand looking to counter-attack from inside of their own 22, going off to the left-hand side. Now in the hands of Renee Holmes. Good fend coming in there on it's not Piquero, but it's something kind of close. I can't remember. Piquero, is it? Maybe Piquero. I should have spent longer on that Google application trying to work out how to say things. Now passed out wide. Big run from Renee. Or Portia Woodman-Whitcliffe, sorry. Out on that side now. Go, baby, go. Says a friendly narcissist. Do rugby players get more knee or ankle injuries on average? That's a tricky one. I think the ankles get done a little bit, but then the knees, because they're more long-term, normally, you know, they re-injure them a little bit. Not nice to see those horror injuries, says Ruth. And feel the same way about MMA fighters and pro wrestlers. Or just sports in general. You know, anything that you're doing something physical, you know, you could even say it to an extent for certain jobs, you know. Oh, yeah, nah, 2 players down at the moment, both getting a bit of cramp. She's struggling there. I tried to post that short in the comments at halftime, but YouTube doesn't allow it. Yeah, YouTube have a thing against, like, links and comment section, but I think that's just so that people don't end up getting hacked on accident. Spanish are keeping New Zealand from scoring freely. I could have got hacked the other week while we've got another injury stoppage. I might as well tell the story. I was reached out to by a sponsor saying that they wanted me to test out a few of their products and do a video about it. But then I was like, that's weird. Not really, because like that's a sponsor deal. But I was like, I haven't heard from a sponsor in like 3 years. Something's got to be wrong. And then I looked and they were like, all you got to do is just download the contract using this link and, you know, we'll get you all sorted. So then I actually messaged the proper company and said, hey, did you by any chance message me? And they said, hey, who are you? So I went, okay, scam. So be careful online, ladies and gents, I guess is the life lesson there. But we are going to see if Venusa making her way on. I need to go to Spain or something to try and work on these pronunciations. So I noticed, says Bruce. And Porsche bulldozing her way down the wing, says Jimbo. And but that's because it's played over or by 80-year-olds. Statistically, bowls is the world's most dangerous sport in terms of injuries and deaths. Can be brutal out there on the bowling green. I once won a indoor bowls competition at my local rest home while I was at primary school. Scrum about to take place. That was a bit of a long gap while the players were just getting stretched out. I won a handkerchief, as the older generation would call it. Now, ball fed in by Risi Pori Lane. Hopefully no one got hurt. Only the 85-year-old grandma that I absolutely butchered. No, I did face another primary school student in the final, and I did beat him. But that is in the corner. Leti Inga does score the try. Driver Amish says, Blues, Nate, how can bowling be dangerous? Just because of the age, you know. And sometimes the centre of gravity for slightly older people can be off. So, you know, you're leaning forward and you're down all of a sudden. We have their new member on the channel as well, Friendly Narcissist. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. And I am glad that you've been able to find it on Paramount Plus. Just flying over the try line on the short side. Low score, says Mohadeen. And lawn darts is the most dangerous sport, says Jimbo. And congratulations, says Lilia there too. And knees are the weakest. I love the vibe here, says a Friendly Narcissist. And we have got plenty of games each and every weekend. That will be taking place. And my father laughed at WW Wrestling. He played ice hockey and was banned for life for being too violent. He was a Jekyll and Hyde character from your mum, says Duncan. That's a good kick from Renee, and it will just miss away to the side for Holmes, her first miss of the day, but the score now 40 points to 3. So it's not really the sport, just the age. Says Godzone. Yeah, but statistically, it's just more so the fact that it happens. So that's a great finish in the end there. One of her teammates had to help pull up the shorts afterwards in the celebration. We're over there, morning Hamish and all. Sounds like I missed a horrific injury. Yeah, it doesn't look too good at the moment for Olsen Baker, but of course we'll get some sort of update on that in the near future. A loose bouncing ball. Spain pick it up and retain their own kickoff. Nice, says a friendly narcissist. And also, I think people who don't watch it don't realise how much damage the lads do to their bodies. Says Big Rig. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be a knock on. Well, because in a way, the way to look at it is they're pretty much, they're the stunt men and stunt women. The ones who take all of the bumps. Yes, they're supposed to be pre-planned, but that still doesn't change the fact that you are landing on something that's hard. Well done, Hamish. Muscle tough. Says Roof there. Now the last 20 minutes remaining of this contest. 40 points to 3. I think New Zealand, they'll be happy enough with this one. I think they'll be more concerned if they come away with any more injuries. We did see Duplessis in the first half, and then I think she was all right, though. They just decided to take them out. They're stuntmen who work between 80 to 100 scenes a year, or 80 to 300, says Big Rig, and they can barely gain an inch. Go the Ferns. See, here's a friendly narcissist now popping off the back. Brazier. Sit on the outside. Nice skip pass from Demant, feeding it to Portia Woodman Wycliffe. She has just sat down one of the Spanish players. And that will be a normal occurrence throughout this Women's World Cup. Looking for the steal and the breakdown. Spain just in off their feet. You're quite a wrist twister bowler, says Roof there. Even surfing can be dangerous. Surfing can be extremely dangerous. At the end of the day, you are in water. And all it takes is a knock on the head on the surfboard or anything like that, and you could be sleeping for a little bit. And then, there are also sharks. Of course, sharks are surprisingly more rare, but, accidents can happen and hit the water pretty hard. Which other sport can you go down, or can you be 40 to 3 down, giving your opponent a good run for their money? Says Jumbo. Well, that's the thing. Spain, I've actually quite enjoyed how they've played in this game. And I know they haven't made a huge amount of meters or anything along that line. Portia Woodman, text to say next try for Hamish. Says a Blues Nate. And also Spain don't give up. And Brutus Beefcake got his face ripped open because a female surfer kneed him in the face by accident. Was it a surfer or was it a wind sailor? I thought it was that someone was wind sailing and they came in and got him. I could be wrong. But yeah, I thought it was like a wind sailing accident that ended up with him getting, or maybe it was actually wind surfing perhaps. Could be the kind of correlation there. I think my version is a bit delayed. At least I'm watching See as a Friendly Narcissist. So the best way to do it would be to pause me for about maybe a minute or two until I'm all synced up. But my time at the moment is 61:20. So if that helps get you a little bit closer, then hopefully it does help. Now, nice run from Renee Holmes. Lot of space. Passes it off to Portia Woodman Wycliffe, and she will score another try. The big assist goes to Holmes, who probably could have scored it herself, but she gives it off to Portia Woodman Wycliffe to just extend that massive record that she already has. Some of them get killed by the waves. There's God's Zone. And also we have their broken leg is no joke for a normal person, never mind a sports person or a runner. And yeah, the most frustrating thing for them would be that recovery time. Just waiting to be able to start using that leg again. But nice run from Portia Woodman Wycliffe. That now brings New Zealand that little bit closer to the 50. Big celebrations from the sideline as well. And that try was scored. New Zealand are in the position of a bonus point. Oh well. I was about 7 minutes off for my wonder try, says Novmum. Because what was your score prediction, Nog Mum? You went 50 to 60, wasn't it, for your margin? Which might actually be pretty close where we are sitting. Love her says a friendly narcissist. So the best thing is, you initially weren't able to watch the game. And then, I guess, what was it, maybe 10 minutes beforehand, you actually got to watch it. So now you actually got to see her first try in this World Cup live. Well, kind of live, depending on how far behind Paramount Plus is. A Point Break, Patrick Swayze, says Ruth. My mum's a fan of Patrick Swayze. But I couldn't name you more than one movie that he's in. I know Dirty Dancing. Is he in Ghost? Is he in Ghost? Is he the one who does like the fingers thing? How he like holds the vase? Or like the clay? Is that Ghost? Maybe? Yes. Oh, wow. I've got such great movie knowledge. Conversation goes to the gutter. Says Jimbo there. Renee Holmes makes Portia look good. Says, wait, what? Hey, you guys rock for showing me where I can watch it. Can't wipe the smile off my face today. Says a friendly narcissist, and yes, he is. While he do the pottery. You see, I don't know the concept of that movie. I assume there's a ghost involved to the song. It's that one that goes like is it the My Love one? Is that in the song? Roadhouse. That's a movie I think I've heard of. Because they remade it, didn't they? What's Point Break about? Or should I just watch it rather than getting spoilers? Oh, that was Edward Scissorhands, says Michael. And best song ever during that scene? Oh, She's Like the Wind. I have such terrible movie knowledge. I know that I tried to say, oh yeah, I know things before, but I know absolutely nothing about movies. Nice run there from, it was Demant. New Zealand though, trying to keep this ball moving around. Unchained Melody. And yes, watch them all. And Dirty Dancing is his top film. I think my mum has that on DVD. I think I've seen like 5 minutes of it, maybe if I'm lucky. Morena Kiwi lads, hi everyone, says Spider Mick. Woodman Whitcliffe, 45 metres out. No, that's a song he sung. Wait, did he sing it in it? Or was it just the song that was going on? Let the Inga off. So now we only have 13 players who play in that. Says Gideon, that one's going to be knocked on by New Zealand now. Spain with another chance. Kicking it in behind, looking for a bit of territory. Nice kick there. Will force New Zealand back into their own half. Wait for me, wait for you. I'll be coming home next year. And Making Love Out of Nothing at all was a song. Don't think it was a movie. And he sung it, says God's Zone. Well, there you go. We've got there Ferns bench smashing the Spanish, says Jimbo. Oh, another change being made here for the Spain side. It will be Masoku going off. She's Like the Wind, Dirty Dancing, Ghost. Wait, is She's Like the Wind the song name or the movie name? Or is that the song that was used in Ghost? I'm going to have to find someone who will sit through all my questions and just watch movies with me while I'm sitting there confused. You know, we'll just constantly pause it. I'll go, what's this about? Then unpause. Nice run from New Zealand. Loose ball and drop by Brazier. To go forward or backwards? That one's gone forward. Off New Zealand and Spain now. The crowd's starting to get behind them just a little bit. 32 metres out. They will go back for the knock on. And nobody puts Hamish in the corner. That's probably a movie reference, isn't it? But I don't know what it's from. Ferns bench smashing the Spanish. Any of the Black Ferns XB that lost to South Africa in this team? I'll give you some info. One moment. We'll go here. South Africa versus XV lineups. You've got... Not really. I don't think anyone across that whole 15... Off the bench, I don't think either, actually. Yeah, so no one from that game that I can see anyway. Off the top of my brain. Or my head. Second string team lost to South Africa in the second match. And Kiwi lads, watch along movie time. See, if copyright wasn't a thing, that would be quite fun. But I can guarantee you 5 minutes into any movie, someone would say what the end line would be. or like some sort of plot twist. Coyote Ugly was a good movie, and I love this chat. Says a friendly narcissist. It's always hectic at the late night streams. Like, it's currently 6 a.m. here in New Zealand. So when my brain's half by asleep, that's when the random chat comes out. We've seen 160 meters made by Sa'i in this game. From 3 line breaks, 12 carries. She has been going for it. She's almost made as many meters as this whole Spanish team. And true, I am. That happened, says Blues Nate. And Point Break, excellent, Hamish. Exciting, thrilling, and non-stop action. Great skydiving and surfing. There you go. From Dirty Dancing, Hamish, no one puts baby in the corner. Says Dallin. Song in Dirty Dancing, says Ruth there. No, dear Spanish need a try. And anything goes when Hamish is wired. The thing is, though, straight after the live stream, I will still be wide awake for probably a good few hours. 47 points to 3. We haven't quite got that extra. There we go. Currently 66 minutes through. We've had a lot of injury time throughout this contest. Still the 14 minutes to go, but this is Spain's big chance. In fact, that's the question for the chat. Yes or no? Will Spain score a try in this game? Of course, New Zealand, they would like to think they have 1 or 2 more up their sleeve, but can they get the one? Here comes the Spanish backline movement. Big fend from Agudo. Puts it on the inside. That was slapped back by New Zealand, so it's going to be play on. Spain still have this ball. 22 meters out from the line. Little knock on from Spain. And now another scrum for New Zealand. No. Oh, so negative. But yeah, no, it's going to be tough, isn't it, for them to be able to get one. This was probably one of their better chances. Ali McCraw getaway. Nobody rides for free. Ending of Point Break when Brody kills himself going out and storm surf. That seems like it's a big spoiler, Roof, of that movie. What is the first thing on some of their heads? Like a bonnet. Says friendly narcissist. Maybe. I do like a bonnet. I feel like a bonnet has its place. It's like one of those big high hats. You know, or even, you could say one of those ones with the little spinny fan on the top. They've gone out of fashion. I don't know why. Actually, no, I do. They were a bit weird. Little umbrella hat, though. That goes a long way in the rain. Kicked in a touch by New Zealand, deep inside of their own 22, and now 30 metres out from the line. It will be Spain again on the Spain team. Says a friendly narcissist. Oh, you were just saying in the game. It's a scrum cap. If you're talking about the lady in the red, well, sorry, they're all wearing red, but the one with the red scrum cap, pretty much what it does is it stops your ears from getting all ripped up, and also it is supposed to help a little bit with getting a concussion, or like not getting one, sorry. But that's pretty much the reasoning behind it. It's just to try and protect your head a little bit more. You see it in quite a few different ages. We have got the headgear says, wait, what? And also, you think Spain will go for another 3 points or a line out? I think they'll keep on going until they can get a try. Or at least they'll keep on going until they get a little bit closer to scoring. I believe Spain will never get a try, guarantee. Says Spider-Man. Well, guarantee is pretty substantial. Definitely with the amount of penalties New Zealand have given away in this contest. As a guy, I thought they were wearing helmets. Says friendly narcissist. Now charging forward, it will be the left winger, Piquero. That was maybe closer than my original pronunciation attempt. Looking for the steal. New Zealand give away another penalty. Spain will have the chance to kick this one towards the corner now. Fame, I'm going to live forever. I'm going to learn how to fly. I feel it coming. Together, people will see me and cry. Oh, bars. Fame, I'm going to make it to heaven. Light up the sky like a flame. I'm going to live forever. It's probably from a movie, isn't it? Or a poem, perhaps. Now 10 minutes left. 7 penalties against New Zealand. Only 2 against Spain, which honestly is pretty strong. And I know that I keep on praising Spain, but, you know, they aren't making it out of the group stage, so we've got to praise them now because we won't get the chance to praise them later. España score a try, says Blues Nate, and go Aotearoa. And baby, remember my name. Says Craig. I assume that's also maybe a quote from one of those ones. Oh, nice step from Spain. 20 metres out from the line. They still want a special try. That ball's going to be knocked away, though. And it's into the hands of Bremner, who's almost judo thrown to the ground. Ask your mum about that. She should know it. And also, the end scene is so sad. I cried for days. I'm dancing, Nov Mum, says Jimbo. And at some point, teams just give up emotionally. Is Spain at that point? I would say no. I actually think, if anything, Spain seemed more determined to get a try than they did throughout earlier on in the game. Oh, no huddling is the call there. That's too much huddling. Says the ref to the Spanish side. Damn. Says a friendly narcissist. What is the difference between a friendly narcissist and just a narcissist? I guess how friendly they are, but intriguing. Oh, nice tackle on demand, but the rush defence. Let's leave a gap on the outside for Portia Woodman-Wycliffe. Giving it away to Renee Holmes. He already has the assist for Portia earlier on in the half. Now, Renee, on back that time it was Poldy Lane. Was that cuddling? Huddling with an H. Now, to the right, Brazier. Now finds the hands of Teresa Stefano. Portia Woodman-Wycliffe almost went through. Now, Poldy Lane again looks off to the left-hand side. And Spanish maybe last 5 minutes, and ref needs a good huddle, says Jimbo. And who's got the mum jokes? Says Nov Mum, and also Spain get a try. It's like they win the World Cup, says Spider. The thing is, the crowd are going to go absolutely crazy if Spain got themselves a try here. Now, it could be quite tough, and I do think they're about to concede again as New Zealand sit just the 10 metres out. All that's full of old dudes, says Craig there. Yeah, I know that they're going to get a bit of criticism over the next couple of weeks. I'm curious to see how they go up against the South Africans, as that is going to be a big test match at Eden Park, a 50-match winning streak for New Zealand that is on the line, close to the line this time for Bayfield. Poldy Lane, oh, it's dropped by Woodman-Wycliffe. That is a rare error from her, but it went backwards. Now, Poldy Lane, I think she tried to milk the penalty there, but does not end up receiving it. Still 5 metres from the line. Oh, pick and go again. A little bit closer. It's good defence at the moment from Spain. I just jinxed them. I was going to say good defence from Spain, but they just went straight through a massive gap. And Teresa Stefano does score the try for New Zealand. We have got there is none. It's 100% impossible for a narcissist to be friendly, says Nas. When I saw people overuse the word for AOls in general, it means to have an interest in oneself, don't we all? So yes, the difference between us all is whether you're a friendly one. That sounded deep. That sounds like you've had a good think about that. As if you've been asked that before and you were just ready for it. We've got there, how much is it, says Mohadeen. How much is it? I assume you're talking about the time left and not my body. It's currently 6.5 minutes remaining. We've got there, yes. Okay, let's go, says Ruth. It's probably okay if the woman cuddle at the bottom of the ruck. Can't give a penalty for that, says Xander. Well, it would probably be not rolling away, wouldn't it? It would be just a stock standard one, but that kick has gone over. And now, with 6 minutes remaining, 54 points to 3 the score now between these two sides. New Zealand playing with 13 at the moment, says all in the game. And also, we have an interest in ourselves. We all are narcissistics, I am afraid. Or narcissists, I'm afraid. And is that because of the resemblance of your French teacher, says Lilia Jimbo? And 100 times says a friendly narcissist. It makes people uncomfortable. I like it. And Peter Parker busy at the moment. Did you see the end of Penrith versus Canberra? I didn't, but I heard that apparently it was a bit hectic. Is there enough time for Spain to come back from this? No, but they could still score, but they dropped the ball off the kickoff there. Claudia Pena just not quite able to hang on to it. Now off to the left-hand side. We've got as well, could be the same score. I assume you're talking same score as the Springbok game, but I think we'll see it be a little bit lower. Well, they're saying that New Zealand now running down the wing again. Good attacking run. She'd have to be close to player of the match here for Layla Sahi with how she's gone. She hasn't actually scored any tries though, but she's done everything but. Oh, that was a big collision. We just heard a as someone got hit. 6 phases in for New Zealand. up to 40 metres out from their own try line, Pori lane. To the left-hand side again, Demant. Brazier with the step, getting around two, finding the offload, trying to get it out wide. Renee Holmes gets it to Sai again. And Miranda Blues Nate. And point break is about surfing, says David. I think New Zealand will score again before the final whistle, says Xander. Now popping it up. Rush defence on Demant, but the offload coming to Kelly Brazier. New Zealand at a bit of a standstill at the moment in terms of where that next gap could come from. And Las Leonas. Says Marta there. And also Spanish Spirit still flying, but body's broken. Yeah, it seems like in a way the bodies are trying to give up, but the head and the heart aren't for Spain. Like they just keep on going. And, you know, they'd love nothing more than to get a try here, but there's a chance that they may concede one at the end instead. How much try do New Zealand have? They have got themselves, I believe it is, 8 tries in this game so far. And Vamos España, just 1 try, says Lilia. If you take a personality test, it will give 100%, or will 100% give you a 1 to 10 rating in narcissism. Narcissism in a low rating as what leaders possess. High rating means serial killer. I can now understand when you said you've been asked it 100 times. I feel like you've also had this conversation 100 times. Same, and now I love you too, says a friendly narcissist. We have got their spider sense always tingling. Ball's there for the Spanish. Currently on their 22. I hope they don't kick this. I hope they try and run it out. See whether they can get it out wide. This is a big chance for the Spanish. Bit of a foot race on the outside, but the stepping in the one-on-one defence from Teresa Stefano does shut it down straight away. Now off to the right-hand side again. Only been watching for 20 minutes, but Spain D is committed here. And the fact that it's the last 20 minutes rather than in the... Like, I mean, the first 20 they were actually relatively strong too, but I don't think Spain have necessarily hugely slowed down throughout this matchup. Like, it's an incredible pace that these sides have been playing in. And New Zealand have had over 1,000 running metres. Spain have made close to 200 tackles. But they just keep on trying to get something going. Now pick and go again. New Zealand trying to break it through. Say gets the offload up again. But they are saying about that Spain fitness level, the fact that they are just not willing to take that backward step. Chelsea Bremner. She's been out there. Oh, another in the breakdown. And Spain have managed to get New Zealand to give away a knock-on. Trying to find a way of passing it on the outside. No room to work with here for the Spanish. And they'll go back for the scrum. Oosh, did you bounce him out? Bounce him out? What does that mean? Did you bounce him out? Where was that from? I think I missed something. We have got the yes, Kiwi lads. Says a friendly narcissist. And what was the score when Spain went for 3 points? 14-0, I think, at that point. Is when they managed to get it. Or it might have been... No, I think it was 14-0. He's winning the Rugby Championship. New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, or Argentina. I think whoever wins that Eden Park Test match. That's my prediction. Although saying that, if New Zealand were to win the Eden Park and then South Africa win the Wellington, then both of them are still well and truly in it. And shoot it for the swoosh, says Blues Nate, and 54-3. Now 1 minute left on the clock. Blues mentioned a few bots were around last night, says Naz. Yeah, we had a few for the Rugby Championship of all things. So I don't know why that was the difference from the July internationals. Maybe they just decided Rugby Championship was easier to try and be a bot. And Hamish, how do we end up playing with only 13 players for 15 minutes? Just due to injuries, unfortunately, off the bench. Making the subs early on in the second half, which you can expect from a game that you're already leading by a large margin. But sadly for New Zealand, from there it just meant, oh, that's nice work from Spain. And the breakdown, they win the penalty. And the celebration there, they want to take it quickly. No, is what we're hearing from the Spanish teammates. They want to kick it for the corner instead. Anyway, good evening. Have a lovely week ahead. And the Spanish sure don't give up. They seem to be giving it their all. I respect it. And who you're putting your money on to win the Rugby World Cup for the women? I am not putting any money on anything because I'm terrible at predictions. But I'm thinking it could be... I'm going to make a bold statement and say, well, it's not really bold. It's one that I think is fair enough. Either finalists from last Rugby World Cup will be in the final again. One of those two finalists, England or New Zealand. Loose ball for Spain. It's still there. 10 metres out from the line. We're up to 80 minutes. Getting the Spanish strike last. in this game. They're playing the game of last try wins. It would be the moral victory for the Spanish to know that they can get through this Black Ferns team. Just give them the try, says Robert T. Now, New Zealand aren't going to take a backward step. They will make them work for it. But the crowd will go absolutely nuts if Spain score. In fact, it will be about as loud as someone winning a World Cup if the Spanish can cross the try line. We're hearing the chants for Spain in the stands. 5 metres out from the line now for the Spanish. Advantage as well for a no-arms tackle from New Zealand. Spain 2 metres out. Pick and go again. Can they get there? That's 1 metre now. Past across, they're over the line. No, they're not. Never mind, they dropped it. And it's going back for the penalty. They were close. The crowd are cheering because they think it's a try, but now I think they've realised that it was just for the penalty. Okay, so the referee has just warned New Zealand, saying pretty much you're not allowed to just have your hands down and then dive forward. I don't think the crowd realise it's not a try yet. Some of them were still celebrating. A knock on, says Xander, just woke up as Georgia Miller playing. She did play the first half, scored herself 2 tries, including the first, now 1 metre short of the try line here for the Spanish. Pick and go, that is over the line, and Spain get the try at the end of the game. Huge celebration. There's a pile of everyone on the ground. Even the New Zealand players are smiling a little bit there, a couple of them enjoying that moment. But for Spain, massive try coming at the end of this contest. If I said 60-10, looks like I'm half right, says Robert T. And nice Spain, says Nas. And good defence by Spain in the end, says Robert T. And here's Vamos, says Lilia there. As well done, Spain, says all in the game. And like they are saying, yes, it doesn't change the result. Like, there's no denying New Zealand won this game extremely comfortably. But for Spain, that try, I would say, means more to them right there than I don't even know what a comparison could be in that regard. The crowd are fully silent now for this kicking chance. Oh, wow, it's a deathly silence at the ground. Argudo to line it up. Oh, she ran out of time. She took too long. She didn't see a timer. The ref didn't warn her, and that will be the end score in this contest, 54 points to 8. Okay, you have to have already kicked it when it's 0, so it will not count. It did go over, but that will be the end of this contest, 54 points to 8. And good night, Bruce. Take care. Cheers, Hamish. I'll watch the first half now. Any players in particular I should watch? If you're looking at New Zealand, Georgia Miller, definitely one to look at. Layla Sae, number 6 for New Zealand. I think that her game was absolutely insane throughout this whole 80 minutes. She had over 160 metres carried by herself and took too long to convert it. I think she was just enjoying the silence of the crowd and soaking in the atmosphere. Why the heck did the Black Ferns play with only 13 players for close to 30 minutes? Imagine having a coach who uses the entire bench. We can't figure out how and when to bring players on, says Moha. To be fair, though, you don't make subs 50 minutes in expecting one of your players to have their leg snapped in half and the other to get quite badly hurt as well. Like, you maybe could have saved one player, but then they still would have been playing with 14 in the later stages of the game. So I don't think that the criticism for the coach is too justified in that scenario, because most teams have made their changes at around that mark. You look at some of the other teams who have won their games comfortably. New Zealand already had that game under control. They wanted to give everyone a little bit of time out there on the field, and sadly, injuries happen. There's something that you can't plan for, but at the same time, would you not argue that being prepared to play with less players on the field in this game is not a good thing for New Zealand? What if they get a yellow card in a game up against the English? What if they get 2 yellow cards up against the Irish? Will they be prepared for that? Now they possibly are a little bit more. They would have built that defensive structure. So I actually see it, other than the fact that there are 2 players now injured, not as a bad thing for New Zealand to be tested in that manner. I love your commentary a lot more than what's on the actual game. You're right. Says a friendly narcissist. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Portia Woodman-Wycliffe says theme there. And shot clock 0, says Xander. Yeah, she did end up running out of time, unfortunately. So the end score 54-8 rather than 54-10. And 6 for New Zealand, looking good in the 25 minutes I saw, says Studs Race. And yeah, she was busy in the first half too. In fact, that whole loose forward trio, they did quite a bit of work. When is the Women's World Cup? Is it every 4 years? It is indeed, although last World Cup for the women was 2022 due to the delay from the 2021 World Cup. Very awesome, says a friendly narcissist, and that was an exhilarating game. Says Jimbo. And also, Spain made one line break all game, says all in the game. And 1,600 metres by the Ferns. And then these ladies are some beasts. And also, last 2 Rugby World Cup finals full of cards, says Studs Race. And good for Spanish ladies there at the end, says Fleshin. And there's it will be a moment that they will well and truly cheer. If it actually looks like Makaeli 2 is going to get the the player of the match award, the POTM. And you just call me friendly. It's probably easier, isn't it? Scoreboard looks good now. Says Blues Nate. Yeah, at the moment it hasn't actually said that it's full time as of yet, but it is. So now next week, you're going to get to see, one moment, we'll go like that. And like that as well. Right, we've got Canada versus Wales, Scotland versus Fiji, England versus Samoa, USA versus Australia, Ireland versus Spain, New Zealand versus Japan, Italy versus South Africa, and France versus Brazil. Those are all the games that are taking place next week. At the moment on the tables, they don't have them available at this point in time. But looking forward to when that is updated. We have there Leonas from Marta there. And thanks, Hamish. It's always fun. Says Lilia B. And go back and watch the final highlights of the last Women's World Cup. It's pretty. Says Robert T. In the end, that game between New Zealand and England, 34 points to 31. I was just going back to have a look. And New Zealand did have a yellow card in that game in the second half, 65th minute. So playing with less players out there on the field once again, I think isn't the worst thing that could have happened for the Black Ferns. Yes, it's going to test them, but it's testing them in a good way, preparing them for scenarios that can happen. And thanks for the commentary, says John. And I missed the end. Spain got a try. They certainly did, yes. They missed the conversion due to getting timed out. The kick actually went over, but it was after the break. And Vamos Spanish, says Ruth there too. But nonetheless, do thank you all very much for tuning in. Scotland versus Fiji might be close. Yeah, I think there are a few games next week, I think, that have that chance of being relatively close. 22 line breaks for New Zealand in that game was an absolutely massive number. There was no neutrality there by the English crowd, says Fleshin. Yeah, I think a lot of people were going for Spain in those closing moments. Thanks so much. Spain deserved that try at the end for their relentless perseverance. Yeah, the fact that they just never gave up throughout that whole match. Yeah, they're just showing that replay of the injury that we saw in the second half for Kaipo Olsen Baker. And we have got that agreed, says friendly in there too. But nonetheless, do thank you all very much for tuning in. We will have some streams coming up in the near future, next week, or this week, depending on where you are in the world. But thank you all very much for being here, and I will see you all for the next one.